I am a 33-year-old male living in a beach suburb of Los Angeles. I am healthy and do not use medication of any kind, or supplements, herbs, etc. My first experience with psychedelics was with LSD when I was 16, and I have also used mescaline, mushrooms and non-DMT. For the past 2 years I have been using exclusively non-DMT and psilocybin mushrooms, and have been fully immersed in wisdom traditions which can broadly be referred to as non-duality. I first became interested in 5-MeO-DMT many years ago. It's impossible to know exactly when. Terence McKenna didn't have much to say about it, feeling that the lack of visual activity was a shortcoming of the compound. Hamilton Morris botched some parts of its history in a Season 2 episode of his Vice show, only to make a spectacular comeback to kick off Season 3. Memes and myths about psychedelic toads are common enough that even the lay person has heard of licking toads to get high, but that's not the route of administration called for here. Incilius alvarius, formerly Bufo alvarius, aka the Sonoran desert toad or Colorado river toad, the largest toad in North America. This unassuming creature is recognisable by the venom sacs on its arms, legs, back and parotid. When the toads emerge from hibernation en masse, one can collect their venom by squeezing the glands, thereby spraying the excretion onto a piece of clean glass. After a period of drying, the venom contains 15% 5-MeO-DMT, which can then be scraped and vaporised. When heated in a glass pipe, one long toke of this pungent vapour will produce what is widely regarded as the most intense and theogenic experience possible. In recent years, as relationships between US and Mexico-based practitioners grow, a beautiful and theogenic culture is being birthed, with the toad at its centre. Over the past 2 years, my father and I fell in love with the synergy between non-DMT and non-duality, and he is rather active on social media in sharing his insights and perspective. We have a special bond, and after I shared non-DMT with him, he has served himself on several occasions. 2 weeks before this experience, someone reached out to him on social media, curious if the information he's been sharing was catalysed by an encounter with 5-MeO. After some discussion, an exchange of names and numbers, and the auspicious alignment of several vectors, we booked a 6 PM session in Malibu. Fast forward 2 weeks. The day arrived. I fasted and left work early in order to buy some comfortable clothes for the experience, and to give myself time and space to settle. Mild nervousness began to set in at this point. Sweaty palms. It was 2 hours until the ceremony, and I took time to sit and follow my breath and refine my intention for the encounter. I left home with time to spare for unexpected changes in traffic and a beach meditation en route to the facilitator's home. After the drive and a few minutes spent admiring the Pacific, I met my father at the entrance to the house. If you imagine a cross between a hobbit house, a cathedral and an organic spaceship overlooking the ocean, the image will not be far off. We were greeted by one of the facilitators, Luna, who informed us that the previous guest was still processing and integrating, which gave us time to chat poolside with Jeremy, the lead facilitator. Jeremy is also my father's name, and like my father, he spent most of his career in Western medicine. This is one of many synchronicities which surrounded this experience and continues to bubble up in my life. We shared awakening stories and practical information as the sun slowly set on the ocean, and when the time came we were ushered into the spacious and well-appointed interior. This is where the ceremony was conducted, and I couldn't have imagined a more comfortable or welcoming environment. All the expected design elements were present: raw wood, stone, and an altar whose centrepiece was a large amethyst geode which resembled a pair of open wings. Inside we were introduced to Alicia, the final of the 3 facilitators. We were cleansed with sage and moved into place on simple padded mats adorned with the likeness of Ganesha, which had been laid out on the floor. My father was to go first, and I would follow him 15 minutes later. The medicine was delivered in the eclipse, a type of vaporizer and a threaded end into which a vial containing one's individual dose is loaded, a most effective tool. Music came down, the lights dimmed, and incense was burned. This was it. Kneeling on the mat, my father was handed the pipe to hold between his palms, close to his heart, while one of the facilitators held a typed prayer before him to be read aloud. He read the prayer, and upon completion, the dose was delivered. In one long inhalation, the entire dose was received, one single breath. My father lay down on his side where the facilitators quickly and gently rearranged pillows and blankets to support him. The effects come on immediately, and present differently depending on the individual's nature and needs. Not 10 seconds after the end of the inhalation, my father began vocalizing in a complex glossolalia. He was not speaking any language I know, or even know of, but the tone of the message was complete and utter astonishment. I couldn't help but smile, and at times barely contained myself as the joy turned to laughter, and tried to escape from me the way steam rises from boiling water. Eventually the mutterings gave way to English, and some of the quality of his experience came through. Unfathomable. Unfathomable. Oh Jesus. Jesus Christ. Of course. That's it. That's it. Jesus fucking Christ. I get it. Of course I get it. I get it. How could it be anything else? This settled down, and no more than 10 minutes after the dose, my father was resting peacefully, in deep communion with all that is. Jeremy asked me to step outside to speak to him. Would you like to take the medicine while standing? This is usually reserved for the second session onward, but based on your history I think it will be a beautiful experience. You remain upright, spine in alignment, bridging heaven and earth. I'll be right behind you, waiting to catch you when it comes on. Just fall back and we'll take care of you. How could I say no? We headed back inside, and I stood at the edge of the mat while the final preparations were made. This was the moment of truth. Alicia cleansed my hands with Florida water. She gave me the pipe and held the prayer to read. At this time in writing the report, I am shivering and covered in waves of goosebumps as I coax the memory of that evening from out of the ether. I am love. I am health. I am peace. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be healthy. Now breathe it in, nice and slow. Good, good, more, more, more. Almost there, but more, good. The rich vapour is the taste of mystery. Its aroma is ancient, spiced, sweet and deep. Earthy and medicinal. More than anything it tastes of power. As I finished drawing it all in, the room quivered, suddenly filled not with air, but a vicious superfluid which was both more real and more dreamlike than waking perception. My arms were still raised, having lifted them over my head while taking the dose as instructed. As I lowered them, I fell back not into the arms of a man, but into the boundless heart of creation. Am I going to do it? Am I going to say, it cannot be described, and then go on trying to describe it? I could spend the rest of my life in effort, and never get any closer to conveying the felt experience. Holy fucking shit. This is it. This is me. I am it. Imagine what it feels like to become history, to become expression, to become Tao. This is everything, complete and outside of time. It is the transcendental object at the end of time. It is loving, self-organising, infinite intelligence. All sense of who I am, that I am a who, was blown away in a great cosmic wind. All sensory experience merged into one orgasmic, orchestral cheer which echoed through the halls of creation. I am an old man basking in the sun. I am a wave crashing on the shore. I am touch, number, colour, smell, sound, taste, light, electricity, magnetism. I am the telling of a joke and the punchline. I am the intimate symmetry of flowers in bloom. I am liquid light in love with itself, dancing into form, dancing out of form. I am an impossible object of infinite potential. The only thing to do is everything, and so I do everything. I am every possible extreme and subtlety, the transcendence of quality. I am without quality, total, There is nothing to which or against which comparison is possible. All of reality is one. All of reality is one. This is a solvent. The problem solved itself. Holy shit, this is it. I felt the crystalline nature of the eternal moment precipitate from the supersaturated solution that is all the teachers and all the teachings of my life. The qualities of my father's loving wisdom are in me. I am them. I am the radical, insistent wisdom of Leo Gura, and I became him, and we were the universe. Astonished and weeping with joy at having done it again, we remembered. I laid there as the infinite descended into form, and all of reality knit itself back together. I opened my eyes. Perfect, brilliant stillness. Complete luminous abiding. Total radiant peace. I rested in the delicious feeling of being alive, of being life. I closed my eyes. Hey bud, how you doing? You want another puff? It'll be like a deep meditation. Jeremy laid a gentle hand on my chest. How could I say no? I remained prone on the mat while Jeremy administered the second dose. The inhalation was slightly shorter, but the depth of this experience was just as profound as the first. The knowing was there again. What we call reality is the appearance of opposites, across all possible axes, in perfect dynamic equilibrium. In this configuration there is infinitely loving creative intelligence. Life trusts and loves itself completely, and so gives itself full permission to express itself completely. It's here, it's right there, for you to take it all. Something trying to move, and I have to allow it. Drawing a breath, I let out an exultant howl rising and then falling in the end. It felt like the ultimate acknowledgement of who I am. From somewhere in the distance I heard the howl return, a howl of recognition from my father. I howled again, jubilant. Who knows how long I lay merged with this unity? Eternity isn't a long time, it is the transcendence of time. Coming back, slowly, slowly, gently. Piecing together my individuality was like putting on the finest clothes. I whispered to myself, my name is Mason Newhouse. My father's name is Jeremy Newhouse. My mother's name is Lucian Pavot. I'm speaking the universe into existence. Satya is the truth of existence. I shuddered with bliss at the simple facts of my being. I bathed in that bliss for a moment, and wriggled cosily, feeling like a child in bed on a lazy Sunday morning. Eventually I sat up, and reflexively spit a congealed ball of emotion across the room, and looked at Alicia seated to my left. Well, that's it. Welcome to Utopia. Alicia smiled and nodded. The sun had set, and the spacious dimly lit space was rich with magic and the potent scent of toad venom. The room was thick with emotion, and I looked at my father on the mat beside me. So that's it, he said. That's it, I replied. 2 thumbs up. To my right and behind me I saw Luna, and heard her crying gently. There is the impression that something profound had just taken place, and everyone sat quietly together in pure, open awareness. My father and I hugged and laid on our backs, head to head, marvelling at what had just taken place. Jeremy came over to welcome us back. He thanked us for the beautiful session, saying that it brought him even closer to his own father, with whom he has shared this experience. We all sat together talking for a bit, about the experience we had, about the people it has helped, research being done, etc. It's nice to have a body, I say, and I mean it. A nice human thing. We all sat for a while, and as big talk turned to small talk, the evening drew to a close. I offered my deep gratitude to our facilitators, to the people who harvested this medicine, to the toad, to the earth, to the sky, to myself, to the self. Years, indeed lifetimes, could be spent in describing the awakened non-dual state. And that's exactly what's going on. All religions, mystery schools and spiritual traditions are pointing to this. There is nothing new I need to say or could say. Anyway I approach it, this experience is a transcendence. It's nothing like non-DMT, and yet an obvious expansion on it. There was no way I could have prepared for it, but everything in my life led to that moment. It was infinite power and infinite gentleness. I have to choose to end the report here, lest I go on forever. I'm in no hurry to go back to that space, but I savour the thought of when the time comes to return. TLDR, I smoked dried toad venom and became God, which is synonymous with universe, love, Tao, reality, energy, intelligence, creation, imagination, consciousness, eternity, infinity, everything, nothing. This, here, now.